Boy, do you all have an opinion on this story. President Biden and other Democratic leaders are calling for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to resign. It's all due to a bombshell report that found Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women who worked for the state and elsewhere, violating federal and state laws. Cuomo responded by apologizing and said he accepts responsibility and is making changes. He also denied the sexual assault allegations, saying he, quote, never touched anyone inappropriately. He also presented a slideshow showing photos of himself embracing and kissing various people. Meantime, one of his accusers is speaking out. Here's some of what she said to GMA.
It wasn't an apology, and he didn't take accountability for his actions. He can't once apologize and then say he didn't do anything wrong. He blamed me and said that I simply misinterpreted what he had said, but his line of questioning was not appropriate. He was coming on to me, and he insinuated that survivors of trauma and sexual assault can't tell the difference between mentorship and leadership and sexual harassment itself, which is not only insulting to me, but every survivor who listened to him yesterday.
And Cuomo is resisting calls to resign at this point. What do you make of his defense, and should he step down? We want to hear from you, DBL Nation. Write us in, and also we have a poll going, okay? So go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Tori, what did you make of this?
Not a great apology. If I'm talking optics, that was sort of a disaster, as Lindsay and I sort of talked about earlier. Showing pictures of yourself kissing other people doesn't mean that it's okay to do it to people that make it uncomfortable. It sort of rubbed it the wrong way. The worst thing about this is when we look through all the witnesses and we look through all the testimony, he retaliated against some of these women. That's when it gets me angriest. It's not just he touched someone and he's Italian and he's going to play that card. He retaliated. Once you take that step, you're done with me, unfortunately.
I think that he tipped the cup over for anybody who was confused about whether or not to impeach him. He was like, just, yeah, please do it. Because to use the defense like, oh, I kissed tons of people. Right. This is my defense, and this is why what I did in the past is okay in the future is really not okay. And then what really bothered me is that he used a family experience and compared that to one of the 11 alleged victims and said, you know, I had a family member that went through something similar. I was trying to console her in a way, and she felt sexually abused. So what part of him was consoling her by asking her, do you date older men? Like, obviously she felt like he was attacking her allegedly in certain ways. So I don't understand how the man who was on top of the world last year became this person. But it's really interesting to watch somebody who was throwing stones at everybody living in a glass house and how he's falling down right now.
And Erica, really quickly, you always, because I just want our viewers to know exactly what's on the table here, and you always talk about when there's smoke, there's fire, right? Right. So to Lindsay's point, 11 women are included in the report. 9 of them are or were employed by New York. Now, they consulted with 179 witnesses, okay? So Erica, is that enough smoke for your fire?
I think that that's plenty of smoke. It's a whole wildfire at this point. Cuomo asked a while ago for the investigation, let the investigation take place, and then formulate your conclusion. Well, it's 165 pages in this document, and it feels conclusive, although obviously he deserves his day in court. This is not a political issue, and I think that the moment that we start siding and making things political, we're going back to the gaslighting that we've had for the past 4 years. If we do not stop playing political sides and making, especially when we're talking about sexual assault, the lack of autonomy over one's body, the idea that someone would go in for a job and then be subjected to these very inappropriate acts, this is not something to be played with. And I think the moment that we try to make this into anything other than it really is, we're putting everyone in jeopardy, because there is no line, and there has to be a line. The question was, do you think he should resign and step down? Absolutely, because now he's just in the way. Every politician who has even put themselves in jeopardy in this way to even give a semblance of something not being 100% right needs to step aside, because it's not about them. It's about the constituents.
Right. No, you're right. Absolutely. Let's see what our viewers think. Do they agree with Erica? 74% of you say yes, he should resign. I think we are all in agreement on this.
And he was the top of the top.
I know. He should 100% resign.